KTOE, Al in the afternoon, is cast of thousands in studio with us today. I do like this. It's highbrow. That's what I like to call it. We've got Congressman Jim Hagedorn sitting in the chair with us in studio, and I thank you very much for that, Congressman.
Heard about all the snow. I figured this is a good place to hang out.
This is a great place. Nice and warm. It's just, Congressman Tim Penny back in the day?
Yeah.
He was sitting here yesterday, and of course I had it all messed up that you were going to call in. I said, man, Congressman Day, yada, yada. And then I messed it all up. But he was here yesterday as well, and it's just fun to be able to say, hey, look who I had on the show this week. So thank you very much. And coming in is just even that much better. I sent you a photo.
Well, I suspect Governor Walz will be here any day now. And
I'd love to open the seat.
We'll get Congressman Gutnick to come over next.
See, that would be fantastic.
I
would like that a lot.
Yeah, Congressman Penny is a very, very nice guy. In 1982, he happened to beat my father in a close election. And I have to say that I always say if you can't say anything bad about the guy that beat your dad, he's probably a pretty good guy. And Tim Penny is a very nice guy.
I think that's what Senator Fred said, is that he's one guy, you'll not find one human that's ever said anything bad about him. I mean, that's got to say something for something.
Yeah, but I enjoy seeing him from time to time. He stopped by in our office. Didn't see him that day, but we've seen him around the district quite a bit. Okay.
And you are getting around the district now. You're back. Is this what? Is it a week, 10 days for Thanksgiving? How does this work? You guys got?
Yeah, this is about a 10-day break. I've made 31 trips now back and forth to D.C., but. Yeah, we're getting around the district.
Freaking flyers, Miles. Is that just load up on you? Does that go to the U.S. government that they can send troops with that many frequent flyer miles?
Talk to my wife.
Okay, so you're back, which is great. I presume. I mean, I would take it. Maybe I'm leading the way. You'll take Thanksgiving Day off and not go shake hands. It'd just be like a regular day, or because that's probably why you're up here now.
My wife has a store up there in Nisswa. It's a ladies' boutique store she had for many years. So. We'll go up there with her and her family and spend a few days over Thanksgiving.
Okay, so you will take some time off to just not not doing stuff.
Watch a little football, eat some turkey like everybody else, right?
Well, I guess my question is, can I talk some politics with you first, or do you want to talk sports first? I know you'd rather talk sports first.
Yeah, either way. You're the boss.
This is your show. I want to leave on a happy note, so we'll talk
This is your show,
first.
Right? I didn't stumble into the wrong show.
Well, it is. My name's on the door.
Okay.
But here's, and again, it isn't ambushy. It isn't. Don't mean it that way anyway. So now we've had like 5 days of impeachment inquiry, impeachment trial. I don't know what you call this thing they've done. 5 days, and can you tell me what was the biggest dagger that came out of? Where was there a smoking gun? I watched hours of that stuff.
So from the beginning, I thought it was a very political process. I didn't think there was much there to be looking at. And I think the biggest problem the Democrats had is the morning when they said that Mr. Sondland, the ambassador, had said, oh, boy, everybody was in on the quid pro quo and all that. They had to turn around, and they did all the headlines. And then a few hours later, the Republicans questioned him, and he said, well, I just presumed that. So a lot of this has been somebody told me, and I'm assuming, and on it goes. And I think, you look at this across the country, the polling and so forth, the independents, others, the bottom is dropping out on some of this impeachment for the Democrats.
That's where I was going to go with this. I mean, obviously, you're on this side. For me, I think if you watch, like you say, in the morning rounds, it was, this is the doom and gloom for the Democrat, the Republicans. Then the afternoon round would come and it'd all go. I liken it to a football game where I thought the ball never really moved. When you're said and done, you're still playing between the 40-yard lines. It really didn't go anywhere. But now I'm asking you, you're out here, you're back in the 1st District, you're shaking some hands. Are people even talking about it? Is it a thing?
Interesting. We had a town hall the other day in Dodge Center, our Dodge County town hall. We're doing 21 of them across the district, and not one person asked about impeachment. And actually, the town hall we had before that, not one person asked about impeachment. So I don't think there's the interest there that the Democrat Party thinks. And frankly, I've always said I think there's going to boomerang on them, and I think we're in the middle of that.
Well, this is it's interesting you say that, and I say this on two folds. One is, okay, if the Democrats want to go that way, they go that way. But the amount of airtime, television airtime, that they've donated to this thing, if they're not going down a road that anybody cares about, I think that'll hurt them in the radio stations, the TV stations. It's going to hurt them in the long run. This has been lots of airtime. Just moved in Bruce McCurdy, Boss Man Bing. This is Congressman Jim Hagedorn.
Hey, nice to meet you.
He's going to talk small business stuff when you're out.
Good.
Good. Small business Saturday, Friday?
Yeah, Small Business Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your thoughts, if as long as you're here, boss.
Sure.
Congressman Hagedorn, if I'm rephrasing, doesn't think there's a whole lot there when it comes to impeachment as far as people caring, as far as the polls show.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of there to begin with. I don't think it's justified. I think it's an unwarranted attempt to remove our duly elected president. I'm not voting for it. I've been pretty clear about that.
And that's fair enough. My point is there seems to be a whole lot of airtime going on if they're missing the mark. Now, it wouldn't be the first. I'd say the same thing about CMA awards. It's a whole lot of airtime, and I'm not caring what's going on, but that's a whole other thing. Your thoughts on it?
If you want the marketer's view of this,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
there's something called fatigue, listener fatigue. And I think there's an awful lot of that going on where people are just kind of tuning it out to some extent. Now, the people who are really for it, of course, they're going to be for it. And the people who are really against it, they're going to be really against it. And then there's the vast majority of us who just kind of go, okay, there they go again. But there's also something called attribute forgetting, where within about, believe it or not, 4 weeks, people tend to forget what you told them. Only 4% of people remember what they heard 4 weeks ago. And there's an awful lot of people who are just, no disrespect, but politicians tend to run ads and put things in that just say, here's what you should remember about me. And so there's going to be an awful
You've
lot.
forgotten all that stuff they said about
Right,
me. Well, thank you.
right. I mean, that's just, yeah, I'm just saying this is.
Just save it all for the last 4 weeks. So you remember otherwise.
I wish that was a thing.
I don't disagree. Okay, so you think it is going nowhere. You think people aren't for it. You're not voting for it anyway, so we don't have to we don't have to talk about it much more.
There's this talk that they just moved to censure the president rather than bring up articles of impeachment. But if they move to do that, then the president's going to say, look, you basically exonerated me. You said I should be impeached, and now you think there's nothing there.
Well, and I don't know President Trump personally, but I think censorship might be a thing had happened to him his whole life. I believe in third grade as a teacher, as much as slapping you on the hands. And I know you can't say in the Congress. That was Al breaking that up. I think he's been censored more than once in his lifetime. It's just me. Let's talk sports because I know you guys are both there, and we got to get to small business thing. Congressman, your Minnesota Vikings went to first place, and they didn't even have to play.
I know. I'm thinking, can we get another bye week? We
Can you buy a bye week?
This is great. But, the Vikings, we played ourselves into the position where we can win the division. Had won that Cowboy game, which was very important, and then came back in the Denver game. But the Packers, I said all along, they're just not as good as their record. And it's kind of think that we're going to see that. They're now on the road for another, I think, 3 weeks. They
played 2-2-9 teams that they should win.
I know, but then they also play us. So if we keep to business here, we can win the division. If we just keep winning out.
How much do you when the Vikings play the Packers? How much they seem to get into our heads? I mean, is it how much of that? Because they just seem to lose their minds.
Oh, it's Brett Favre. It's Aaron
I know.
We can't beat him. Oh, yeah, that's true.
We've had some success against them here the last few years, but
you know what we're talking about. We always expect as a Viking that somehow we're going to lose it. I thought we were going to lose in Denver. I thought we were going to lose in Cowboys. I mean, we're destined to lose, and we've been winning. So
until we win a Super Bowl, that's always going to be our deal.
There you go. There's some truth to that.
It's in your blood.
Well,
so where are you sitting then? We get them. Are we betting that we win the division? We'll get into the playoffs because the next team's 3 games behind us.
So the Cowboy game was big for us, but now the Seattle game is big. And Seattle had a tough win on the road. We'll see. It's a real good test. If we go into Seattle and win that one, I think we're set up to win the division because there's no way the Packers are coming to Minnesota and we're not going to take care of business.
And
there.
I think Chicago's going to take them when they play them, and we'll take Chicago. I think there's a lot of room for us to improve. Yes, you guys go to that. Sure. How about real quick the University of Minnesota?
Oh, got to win. I mean, what a great year.
But
impressive what they got going on.
I hope we don't get snowed out.
What? College game day's coming, and we're putting 14 inches of snow
Isn't
on
that
them
something?
first.
What could go wrong?
That's terrific.
And you wonder why it's taken this long to get here. It's like, you know why?
Yeah.
Because if you go there in Minnesota in the end of the year, it could snow 18 inches, and let me show you that's what's going to happen. All right, I got to go to break real quick. I got to make this guy his money, and we'll be back after this with Congressman Jim Hagedorn. Big Boss Man Bruce, it's all right here at KTOE.
5. The Wow Zone's popular Thanksgiving Day buffet, 11 till 2, the Wow Zone Mankato.
KTOE out in the afternoon. Al and his friends, we've got in with us today, Big Boss Man Bruce.
Hey there.
How are you doing, sir? I appreciate you being on.
Doing well.
And our Congressman, Jim Hagedorn, is in. He's on the Small Business Committee. Mm-hmm. And we are going to talk about, and I didn't know the Congressman was going to be sitting here. I'm so happy you are. You're pro small business. You're all about it.
Oh, absolutely. It's the backbone of our economy, and it creates all all the new jobs pretty much, and from small businesses come our medium and bigger sized businesses, and incredible growth for our economy. So whatever we can do here to support our local businesses is really important.
This Radio Mankato group sponsors like all small businesses. What's the big,
so here's this, the City Center partnership is something through GMG, Greater Mankato Growth, that they help put on this big thing on Saturday. It's called Shop Small Saturdays, and it was started by American Express about 10 years ago. And little by little, organizations are getting together and putting on big celebrations. And so here's what's going on here in town this weekend. You start by going to the city center area, and you stop at any participating business, and you grab a passport. It's basically a trifold brochure, but it's got stamps in it. And you can go to one of any of the 50 businesses and get your passport stamped.
Okay.
Go to 10 of the businesses, and you've got to go into the different zones. It'll explain it all on the passport. But if you get 10 stamps, you have a chance to win one of $400 City Center gift certificates. So you can get some cash to go shopping. But here's the really cool part. It's not just 50 businesses. There are going to be what they call multi-market areas. So, for example, Union Market, the Center for Innovation, they're going to have students from MSU doing pop-ups, little pop-up shows. And then in the Civic Center, there's going to be a whole nother set of them. So there's all kinds of places that are small and local. It's going to be handcrafted stuff. It's going to be stuff you can't find anywhere else. So if you really want a different kind of gift, you shop small and you do it Saturday.
And for folks who won't remember because we forget stuff, I believe there's going to be big blue balloons out in front of each one of these places to signify that it was. I heard that somewhere. I have no idea where.
That's in the blue zone, thus the blue. See,
okay, there'll be other colors too. Then.
Right.
Okay, see, I'm living and learning.
Right. And so that's that North Mankato, lower north area. Okay. And so and there's just all kinds of different stores. I would encourage you if you're looking, where do I start? We got 4 welcome centers: Union Market, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Circle Inn Bar, and also the Jewelry Bench, and you can stop into any of those. I do want to mention quick that we were able to secure some local sponsorship to really help us get the word out. And special thanks goes out to Allstate Insurance. Allstate, of course, was our very first sponsor, and we want to give them, Jacob Meissen. He's in Old Town, and he'd love to talk to you about auto, homeowners, small business insurance while you're down there. That'd be great. Say thank you for helping us.
I've seen you jazzed up, and not as much about this. This is hilarious. This is really fun to watch. And got the blue zone and the green zone. And you can't get out fast enough. I love it.
There are all kinds of places to go, and if you haven't spent time in that Old Town area, in North Mankato, there is just so much to see. It will take you hours to get through it all, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, so. Congressman, I presume on the Small Business Committee. Mm-hmm. There's only so much you can do, and I don't mean that in a bad way, loans and getting rid of some regulations. There's only so much you can do. People got to shop local. You know what I'm saying? If I come from a really small town, if you're not going to buy first at local, that's what hurts. Am I wrong?
It's you need Main Street businesses to be created and so forth, but once they're there, we always encourage people to try to help our smaller communities and our smaller businesses by shopping local. That's no problem. Our committee, though, oversees a lot of the Small Business Administration programs. Yeah. So it helps with startups and things like that. And we've gotten a couple of bills passed, actually, out of the committee, and one that went through the House already. So to help women own businesses, which is neat.
Well, again, back to that's how you get started. A small business in your small town with some young lady, if that's the one to get started. That's how. But then to make them grow, you got to buy there. That's what it.
And a lot of those bills, it's my understanding that there's some. It can be anything from startup money to loans to all kinds of different help.
Sometimes it's just trying to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Just to have the process, which is pretty complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of impediments to. Even people have a good idea and they think, oh boy, I know there's a market for my product, but. Gosh, how do I do this? So sometimes they need to reach out and get a little help.
Not quizzing either of you. I was stunned when I found out what all you had to do just to cut people's hair. The amount of things you got to jump through and hoops. You're like, my old barber from Fluor, he had to have been grandfathered in. It's amazing what those guys got to the hoops they got to jump through just to cut hair. Like, okay. We'll come back after this. We'll talk some sports and more with you, Jim. Is fair enough?
Sure.
Got Congressman Hagedorn. Bruce, Big Boss Man Bruce is in. I love this day job. I really do. It's 4:55 at KTOE. KTOE. It's Al in the afternoon. In with us today, get all the mics pushed right. I've got Congressman Jim Hagedorn. Congressman, thanks very much for coming on the program, sitting through Boss Man Bruce coming
happy to
in.
be here.
I thank you for making this a stop for you. I don't think people understand how cool it is. We get a hold of you once a week to discuss whatever, and you're always good to talk about whatever. I want to talk about small business. You mentioned just flippantly that your wife owns a small business up in Nisswa.
Yeah.
And it is important that people go there and shop and find those unique items and that sort of thing. So it's nice she's a part of that. It's kind of cool that you're on the committee that
You
runs
kind
that
of see it
stuff.
when you see it on the front lines when you know someone that's a business owner like that, and there's a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges, but
So
gotta
where do
keep plugging away.
we go from here? You're going to take Thanksgiving off, take a few days of rest, and be thankful and all
few
that.
days,
and then when we get back, what do we see happening? Not a lot's going on other than what we talked about before. And I don't need to go back through that. Does anything start moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I mean, they've been focused on this impeachment stuff, and let's face it, we just haven't. The House and the Senate haven't worked on big ideas. We should be getting this Mexico, Canada, United States trade agreement through. Should have an infrastructure, transportation bill, prescription drug reform, border security. Those are things everybody can pretty much agree on. We should be working together in the House and the Senate. But
Well, take this from me one at a time. Just the USMCA, that's the U.S. United States Mexican Canadian agreement.
Yep.
That's all done, right? I mean, that's a bill that's been sitting there. The president signed a bill. Bill. He doesn't sign
it's
a
an
bill.
agreement it's out there. It's ready to go. And Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, and the Democrats are hemming and hawing. Oh, gee, maybe we need to tweak this and tweak that. And we're like, come on. Farmers have been waiting for 10 months. Let's get it going.
But are they having that conversation? My point being is how we fix the border. I presume there's a lot of yelling and screaming got to go on who wants to do that. But this USMCA thing, the president's already negotiated. It's like voted up or down, isn't
We've
it?
been having this conversation for 10 months, and the Democrats are just stalling. They don't want to give the president a win. We'll see what happens. But we have to get it passed. If we can't get an agreement with Mexico and Canada, our friends who are our biggest trading partners, who would expect the president to get something done with China, even though it looks like phase one is on the tail. So we need to keep moving forward, and that's one that should be done the day we go back.
Okay, but I don't think you're
A week
betting
from
on
today,
that.
we should
You're
be
not
voting
betting
on
your
it.
check on that gets
No,
done the day you
because
get back. No, okay.
I'll be pleasantly surprised if the speaker ever brings it up. But I don't believe she wants the president to have a win. It's all politics. That's sad because the farmers are hurting, and if you're for farmers, you need to be for the United States, Mexico, Canada free trade agreement.
Okay, and then so you've got that. The impeachment thing will or will not happen. Is this going down in a blaze of
Oh,
glory?
I think it'll happen. I think
will,
they'll do it. I think they're going to regret it. But at this point, I don't see how they can stop it. They made these claims. All their presidential candidates have said the guy should be impeached and removed. How do you stop it now?
It'll be interesting to see. All right, so that'll happen. USMCA.
I mean, it shouldn't
probably
happen.
won't.
I
Okay.
don't want to. I'm going to vote against it. But I think they're just meant to do it.
Just wanted your opinions, and you're there living it every day. Again, thank you for doing this. I hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Al.
Be
and
safe.
everybody out there.
If you're going to be with the wife up to Nisswa, you drive safe. It's going to get nasty out there for a
See
while.
what happens.
All right. Congressman Jim Hagedorn, you're Congressman from the 1st District. Appreciate him coming in, like I say, all the time. Once a week, come in and we generally talk sports. I appreciate him talking small business
Skol
with me and my boss. Skol. They got to win. It's going to be big. We'll have to talk on Monday first thing and talk about how that went. This is KTOE in Mankato. It's 1420, 102.7. What'd you say?
Monday night game.